You have been overpaying for years, not because you don't know quality when you see it, because nobody ever said these 8 names out loud. Hello, gorgeous. Today we are naming names. 8 affordable brands every woman over 60 should know.
Is a gift.
And I mean actually know by name,
moment.
not just that dress I saw somewhere. Nobody talks about these out loud, which is exactly why you have never gone looking for them. And I promise you, brand number 7 is one you already own something from. You just had no idea. Let's get into it. Brand 1, Grace Karin. First up, Grace Karin. That's Grace like the word and Karin like the name Karin. This one lives quietly on Amazon and has for years. Grace Karin has been making women's clothing since 2008, and their whole identity is elegance without stiffness. Think flowy dresses, soft sweaters, blouses with real drape. Not the shapeless stuff that gets dumped into plus-size categories as an afterthought. What makes Grace Karin worth knowing is the color range. Most affordable brands hide behind black, gray, and beige because it's safe. Grace Karin leans into deep jewel tones. Rich purples, real reds, blues that actually look like blues. If you have been craving color but only finding it in fast fashion that falls apart in 2 washes, this is your answer. Specific thing to look for. Their sequin and glitter tops for evening, and their maxi dresses with pockets, yes, actual pockets for daytime. Most of it sits comfortably under $50, some pieces even lower during sales. It is not trying to be luxury. It is trying to make you look pulled together without the ceremony, and it succeeds quietly, which is exactly why almost nobody says the name out loud. Brand 2. Second, NYDJ. You may know this one is not your daughter's jeans, though the brand mostly just goes by the initials now. Here is what almost nobody explains properly. NYDJ built something called lift tuck technology, and it is not a marketing phrase, it is an actual construction method. Inside the front of the jean, there is a built-in panel with a crisscross pattern sewn directly into the denim. It is not an elastic band glued on top. It is structural, meaning it is part of the jean itself, not an accessory to it. What that panel does is smooth the front and lift through the back, so the jean does the shaping work that shapewear usually does, except you are not wearing 2 garments, you are wearing one. Here is the detail nobody mentions. Because of that inner panel, NYDJ actually recommends you size down from your usual number. If you have ever tried NYDJ and thought the fit felt strange, that is likely why. You were probably in your regular size instead of 1 size smaller. Look specifically for the Maryland straight, it is their most established silhouette, and it comes in regular, petite, and tall, which matters more as we get older and our proportions shift in ways off-the-rack denim rarely accounts for. Brand 3, Quince. Third, Quince. Simple name, simple to say, not simple in what it delivers. Quince sells cashmere, silk, and linen at prices that genuinely should not exist together in the same sentence as those fabrics. Here is how they do it, and this part actually matters. Quince cuts out the entire traditional retail chain. No department store markup. No wholesaler taking a cut. No physical stores adding overhead. They go straight from the same mills that supply established luxury houses, straight to your door. That is not a slogan, that is their actual supply model, and it is publicly documented. A 100% Mongolian cashmere sweater from Quince can run around $50. Compare that to what cashmere costs at a traditional retailer, and you start to understand why people quietly call this one of the best-kept secrets in affordable wardrobe building. Specific thing to look for. Their cashmere crewneck sweater, and their washable silk blouses, which solve the biggest complaint about silk, which is that you're terrified to wear it anywhere near food or coffee. Quince's silk is treated to go in the wash. That alone changes how often you will actually reach for it. Quick pause. Comment below which one of these you had never heard of before today. I already have a guess, but I want to see if I'm right. Brand 4, Sézane. Fourth, Sézane. French brand, and the pronunciation is Sézane, with a soft emphasis, nothing sharp about it. Sézane is French, founded in Paris in 2013, and their whole approach is the opposite of trend chasing. No flash sales, no constant markdowns, no overproduction sitting in a warehouse somewhere. Instead, they release past pieces twice a year in what they call an archive sale, usually around January and June. Everything in between is sold at one fair price, full stop. That structure alone tells you something about the brand's philosophy. They are building a wardrobe, not chasing a trend cycle. What makes Sézane worth knowing by name is the tailoring. Their blazers, trousers, and coats are cut with a clean, timeless European line that does not scream any particular decade. This is the brand for the woman who wants to look effortlessly French without needing to explain the reference. Specific thing to look for. Their trench coat, it is considered one of their signature pieces, and their knitwear, much of which uses alpaca and genuinely holds its shape wash after wash. Brand 5, Amazon Essentials. Fifth, and this one surprises people every time. Amazon Essentials, the women's specific line, not the general Amazon marketplace, the actual in-house label. Here is why this deserves its own spot on the list instead of getting lumped into random Amazon stuff. Amazon Essentials is Amazon's own private label, meaning they control the construction standards directly instead of just hosting 1,000 random third-party sellers. That means consistent sizing, real seam finishing, and fabric weights that do not feel like a paper napkin, which is the actual complaint people have about ultra-cheap basics elsewhere. Because it carries the word Amazon in the name, people assume it is just filler inventory. It is not. It is a purpose-built basics line, and the quality control behind it is a real, deliberate operation, not an accident. Specific thing to look for. Their crewneck sweaters and their wide leg pants, both of which consistently show up in reviews as fitting true to size and holding their shape through repeated washing. This is your foundation layer brand, the pieces you build an outfit around, not the pieces that are the outfit. Let me stop and say this directly to you. If you have been shopping the same 3 or 4 stores for the last 15 years simply because nobody ever said a different name out loud in front of you, that is not a failure on your part. That is just what happens when the same handful of brands buy all the advertising space. You were never missing taste. You were missing names. We are fixing that today. Brand 6, Italic. 6th, Italic. Say it exactly how it looks, italic, like the font style, no trick to it. Italic started as a members-only marketplace, and here is their actual claim, which is well documented. They work with the same manufacturers that produce for houses like Prada, Celine, and Givenchy, then sell the identical quality without the brand label attached, and without the brand markup attached either. No logo, no name on the tag, just the craftsmanship. Here is the update worth knowing. Italic actually dropped the membership requirement years ago. It is now open to anyone, no subscription needed, which makes it even easier to shop than when it first launched. Specific thing to look for. Their leather handbags and their cashmere, both categories where Italic has been most explicit about sourcing from the same factories used by recognizable luxury names. This is the brand for the woman who wants the actual construction quality of designer goods without paying for the name stitched onto it. Brand 7, Levi's Mainline versus Signature, the reveal. And here it is. Brand number 7, the one I promised you already owned something from. Levi's. You know Levi's. Everybody knows Levi's. Here is what almost nobody tells you. There are 2 very different lines wearing that name. There is mainline Levi's, the one sold at department stores and Levi's own retail locations. And then there is Levi's Signature, a separate lower-tier line sold mainly at places like Walmart and other discount retailers. They look similar on the hanger. They are not built the same way. Signature uses lighter weight fabric and different stitching, which is why some women who tried Levi's and felt disappointed were actually wearing Signature the whole time, not mainline. It is a completely different product wearing a familiar name. This matters because so many of us default to Levi's out of pure trust. We grew up on the brand, so we grab whatever says Levi's on the tag without checking which line it actually is. If you want the durability and construction the name is actually known for, look at the tag itself. Mainline pieces are labeled simply Levi's. The discount tier says Levi Strauss Signature spelled out. That one-word difference on a small tag is the entire story. Check your own closet after this video. You might already own the wrong version of a brand you trusted for decades. Brand 8. And finally, 8th, your true budget entry point. Zigu, pronounced Ziagu. Zigu has been around since 2013, and they built their name the same quiet way Grace Karin did, through Amazon and their own direct site, without ever becoming a household word. Their range covers dresses, blazers, jackets, and casual tops, generally priced between $15 and $50, which puts them squarely as the true entry point on this list, the brand you reach for when you want something well made without a big spend attached. Reviewers consistently point to the fabric weight as the pleasant surprise. It does not feel as thin as the price suggests. Specific thing to look for. Their blazers and bomber jackets, both frequently mentioned as strong sellers in their category, and both easy pieces to throw over something simple to instantly look more finished. So here is the truth underneath all 8 of these. Looking expensive was never actually about spending more money. It was about knowing exactly where to look, and nobody handed you that list before today. Now you have it. Comment which one surprised you the most. I read every single one. And next time we are talking about the exact pieces to build a capsule wardrobe around so you are never standing in front of a closet full of clothes with nothing to wear again. I'll see you next time.